Welcome back to my channel. My name is Abigail Grace, or Abby, and on this side of the internet, or this corner of the internet, we talk about books. So that's what we're going to do today, and we're specifically going to talk about all of the books that I read in April. It is currently April 30th. I might finish a book today, but I'll include it into next month's video if I finish it, so it won't be fully everything I read in April, but we'll be close. If you watched any of these videos before, you know that I include a fanfiction section at the beginning, so if you want to skip past the fanfiction, go to this time and I'll start talking about the regular books that I read, and I'm going to try and quickly walk through my fanfictions for the month. So the first one I read was The Black Rose, which is a Draco Hermione like murder mystery. Draco's an Auror. Hermione is a like healer, but specifically for the Auror department, and Theo is an Obliviator, and Theo and Draco are together, and they bring Hermione into their relationship. It's kind of like I said, a mystery. They are targeted because someone is going around and killing significant others of Death Eaters, and Theo and Hermione are dating Draco, and he's obviously a Death Eater. So I'm not going to say any more. That's kind of the plot. I ended up giving The Black Rose 3.5 stars. Next, I read Vow, which is actually a series. The first one's Vow, and the second one is called Sacrifice. And Vow is a forced marriage situation. So Draco and Hermione are back at Hogwarts for 8th year, and Hermione is head girl, Draco is head boy, and actually it's not 8th year. The timeline of this is different. It's 7th year. So the Horcrux hunting is like happening at the same time, and Voldemort, instead of having Draco kill Dumbledore, has him marry Hermione. But of course, against Voldemort's wishes, Draco and Hermione start to form a actual relationship. Voldemort basically had them get married so that like the Order would see Hermione connected to a Death Eater and it would like cause problems, whatever. So that is Vow. It was 3.75 for me, and I will probably read the next part because the timeline in this is the next book in the series is 5 years in the future, and the war is still going on. So the timeline of the war is completely different. It's an AU. So, and Draco has been in hiding for that whole time. So once the war like officially breaks out, Draco has to go into hiding. Anyway, it's very exciting. That was 3.75 stars. Next, I read Once More with Feeling, and this one was interesting in that it's just like regular post-war, and Draco and Hermione work together for the magical creatures department, and Draco is basically dating Hermione without her knowing it, and she looks around one day and is like, Draco, are we dating? And he's like, I was wondering when you were going to catch on to that. Basically, like, Hermione is clueless, and it's very frustrating at times, but it was also like silly and funny. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite, but it was also short and lighthearted. So do that with that what you will. Next, I read Damaged Goods, which Damaged Goods is a Hogwarts is like also a university, so they have a higher education option at Hogwarts. It's a little different. Obviously, it's still a school for young children, but they also have a like university side of Hogwarts. And Hermione is very still traumatized from the war. And this one is also a like murder mystery. Draco and Hermione have like a one night stand basically that kind of like gets out, but Snape recruits Hermione to help Draco with this like crime that's happening. There's like been a resurgence of Death Eaters, and part of Draco's like punishment post-war is to help out with the Aurors. And Hermione is working on a potion that will remove the scar from her arm, and that ends up connecting to what is happening to these random people that are showing up dead. Ex-Death Eaters are showing up dead with seemingly no cause. Bellatrix is involved, and it has a very tense ending. It's kind of crazy actually, but I ended up giving it 3.75 stars. Next, I read Beneath the Scars and Shadows, and this is actually a whip, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to rate it until I finish it, but I did read about 30 chapters of that and then get to the end of what had been published so far. Then I read about 20% of De Traque, I believe is how you pronounce it. And if you don't know De Traque, it is basically a retelling from Hermione's point of view of Half-Blood Prince on through post-war, and it is 700,000 words. It is very, very long. It told me it was going to take 45 hours to read it on my Kindle estimation, and that is no joke. It has in fact taken a long time, and I'm still not finished with it. And I knew it was going to take me a long time, so I started it, read 20%, and then I decided I'm going to take a break and I'm going to read something else before I get back into this, because I had read through basically everything that happens in the books while she's at Hogwarts up until she leaves Hogwarts. And so I was like, okay, this feels like a good time to pause, read something else, and come back. So I did. I read Don't Hex the Messenger, and this is a marriage law fic, and Harry's low-key a bad guy in this one. There's a marriage law. Draco and Hermione get paired together, but Hermione has left the wizarding world, and Draco has to go find her. She owns a bookstore. They fall in love. Very simple. I love a marriage law. Like I said, now I'm back on De Traque, and I'm 60% through. So I've made quite a bit of progress since I read Don't Hex the Messenger, took a pause, and came back. It still says I have like 15 hours of reading left, so I'll finish it next month, but be on the lookout for that review when it comes. I gave Don't Hex the Messenger 3.5 stars. Actually, I gave it 3 stars. 3 flat. Those are all of my fan fictions. I tried to go through that quickly, but a few of them I think I did a really bad job of explaining. If you want a better explanation, look on TikTok or look them up and you can read the summaries online. Let's get into my actual books. And I don't want to say actual books, like fan fictions aren't books, but you know what I mean. The first few that I read for a video, so if you haven't watched my Instagram picks what I read for a week video, go watch that. But the first book I read for that is Magnolia Parks. This has been on my TBR for ages, and I finally got around to reading it. You guys selected it for me. This was 4.75 stars. Truly so good. Like, it's Gossip Girl, but set in London. Magnolia and BJ are both so like toxic for each other, but also it's like watching a car crash. Like, you can't look away. I'm so riveted and invested, and like all of the characters are amazing. The storytelling is amazing. Like, I really feel like I'm in that world, and Jessa truly does an amazing job. I got him to meet her while I was reading this, and that was really exciting. So this is not going to be for everyone, but if it sounds even a little bit intriguing to you, I would definitely recommend. It's 4.75 stars for me. Next, I read an arc of Emma Lord's new book, which is For the Record, and this is an adult romance. So she mostly writes young adult, like rom-coms, but last year she had an adult romance come out. That was her debut adult, and this is her second adult one. And this is two like former child stars who were like rivals, and they come together to make a like duo album, and they start to fall for each other. It's like they broke each other's hearts without knowing it years ago, and they have to work together again years later as adults, and it was really well done. I think this was better than The Breakup Pact, which was her debut adult romance. I gave this one 4 stars. It comes out, I believe, in August, so when that comes out, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Next, I read Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This is her new book. This was also my book club book for the month. This is also in my Instagram pics video. But this I ended up giving 4.25 stars. It's not my favorite of her books. My favorite of hers is and always will be Yours Truly. I love that book. I love Jacob. It's so good. This one's good. It's just not as good. I think Abby always does a great job. It deals with dementia, like being a caregiver, like having narcissistic parents. There's a long distance relationship, and Xavier was a great book boyfriend. I thought it was well done. It was cute, and I'm a little disappointed because I have Yours Truly and Just for the Summer in hardback, but from Book of the Month, and this, they didn't do Book of the Month for this, which it still looks nice next to the others because at least it's still hardback, but I really wanted Book of the Month to pick this or have it as like an add-on, because then they would have all matched, but that's besides the point. Next, I read Ash Princess by Lauren Sebastian, and this was in that Instagram video. This is about Theodosia. She is basically living in the palace with the people that overthrew her like kingdom. So when she was young, people invaded and took over the country, killed her mom, and now she lives there as the Ash Princess, basically like to humiliate her and remind people that they have conquered whatever. And it's your typical like YA love triangle-ish fantasy. She has to trick the prince into like falling for her in order to escape. She has to betray her friends, and there's also like a childhood crush who shows back up. It was good. It wasn't amazing, but will I continue the series? Yes, it's a trilogy. I ended up giving this one 3.75, and I'll read the next few if and when I get to them. You'll know. It does end on a cliffhanger, as pretty much every YA fantasy trilogy is bound to do. I knew it was coming, and it still got me. I still want to read the next one, so that's Ash Princess. Next, I read Daisy Hates. This is the second in the Magnolia Parks universe, although it follows totally different main characters. It follows Daisy and Christian. And Daisy is part of like a crime family. Her brother Julian, we also get his POV. We saw these characters in Magnolia Parks. Christian is one of Magnolia's good friends, but Christian and Daisy, again, it's a toxic like romance, but there's also the added element of there being like some crime family drama, which was like a fun added element that I really loved. It's higher stakes, and I really like Daisy as the main character. I ended up giving this one 5 stars. I feel like I can't quite explain a lot. This book happens at the same time as Magnolia Parks, so everything's happening parallel to each other, but you just read this one after, obviously. So I gave this one 5 stars. I really liked it. I am currently filming this video ends when I read a 5-star book video, and I have a feeling that if and when I pick up the second MP book, but the third in the universe, it's going to be 5 stars. So if you want to see me read that, go watch that video. It'll be up in a few weeks probably, but check it out when it comes out. Next, I read The Twisted Throne by Danielle L. Jensen, and this is the 5th in the Bridge Kingdom series. I've talked about this series before. The first 2, The Traitor Queen and The Bridge Kingdom, follow one couple, Laura and Aaron. Books 3 and 4, The Inadequate Heir and The Endless War, follow another couple, and that's going to be Karis and I can't remember her name. I read the 4th book in that series a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. This book got republished and came out at the beginning of April, so of course I was very excited to get back into this world. The politics and everything are so good. There's definitely some like spice, there's definitely some romance, but really like the fantasy part of this is really well done. I think Danielle L. Jensen is a very talented author, and there is a 6th book in this series coming out. I don't know when, I don't know if the release date has been announced, but this books 5 and 6 follow a 3rd couple, and that is going to be Anna and James. Anna has been promised to Harrendale as a bride for their son, William, but she starts to fall for and have feelings for William's half-brother, James. As I said, the twists and political intrigue in this are crazy, and I did not expect how this ended or what even unfolded in the last like 50 pages. It was crazy. But the story follows Anna in Harrendale as her like betrothal commences and keeps going, and the drama of her basically trying to adjust to another court, and she is definitely very like strong, confident. She's a warrior princess. The Bridge Kingdom, Ithaca, where she comes from, they are all fighters and they're all warriors, and they need to have a trade agreement with Harrendale that is good for them because they're low on money. But the people of Harrendale, their women are very demure, very mindful, and are the opposite of Anna, so she does not fit in. And I've talked a lot, but I don't know that I've actually explained anything. This is really good. This series is really good, and I do think the Traitor Queen and the Bridge Kingdom are easy to get into, and if you decide after you read those 2 you want to be done, you can, because as I said, like each pair of books covers a different couple, and the Bridge Kingdom, the Traitor Queen and Bridge Kingdom, those first 2 are the shortest of the series, and I feel like they're a good way to like dip your toe in to this large political world. So I definitely recommend this whole series. Next, I read the arc of Barry McFarlane's new book, Cover Story, and I've posted about this quite a bit on my book Instagram, which is down below, but it is basically fake dating. The 2 main characters are journalists, and they go undercover as a couple, and they're trying to uncover the like mayor of the Manchester where they live. There's like a sex scandal and they're trying to uncover it. And so they have to befriend this other couple to get the footage that they think is on the iPad that they have, that is going to have footage from the Ring camera of the mayor like doing what he's been doing, and they're hoping to catch him red-handed from this footage from this Ring camera that's on this iPad. So they have to befriend this couple. And as with almost all of the FMCs in Mari's universes, they have their own like separate kind of plot that's separate from that main fake dating and undercover plot. She has a stalker ex, and that also comes to a head in this. It's very interesting. I gave it 5 stars. I have loved all of Bari's books, and if you're looking for a good, like, it's romance, but it's really well written, like plot wise, I would recommend any of her books. Just Last Night, top tier of hers. Like, I already want to reread it, and I read it for the first time like in January. So definitely recommend. Next, I reread Funny Story by Emily Henry. I have reread all of her books except for this one at the time. And in preparation for Great Big Beautiful Life coming out, I wanted to reread this book. And so I did. This follows Miles and Daphne, and their exes cheated on them with each other. So Daphne's ex Peter and Miles's ex Petra are childhood friends who cheat on Miles and Daphne and Miles with each other. So Peter and Petra end up together, and in that, Peter kicks Daphne out. They're engaged. He calls off the engagement, kicks her out, and she needs to find a place to live in a week. And so Miles has an extra bedroom. She's like, Miles, please, I know we haven't really met before. Can I live with you? So she moves in with Miles, and there's a little bit of a fake dating plot that happens because she tells Peter that she has started dating Miles, and so they kind of fake date a little for that, but it really is so cute, and I love Miles. Daphne's a children's librarian. It's so cute. And this is like a 4.5 stars for me. It's not my favorite, but it definitely falls in the middle of my Emily Henry spectrum. So it's a 4.5 for me. It's cute. I was about to say, I read the physical copy of this. Swept Away by Beth O'Leary. This is her new release. It also came out a few weeks ago. And this is 2 strangers who had a one-night stand, but the houseboat that they were on got swept out to sea. So their one-night stand turns into them being stranded at sea together for almost 2 weeks, and they fall for each other. There's a huge twist when they finally get back to land, and it's shocking. But it's also a reverse age gap. So the FMC is 32 or 30, and the MMC is 23. So he's young. And I don't know, it just felt, kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Like, I just sometimes, I could not date a man that much younger than me, just because I feel like men mature so much differently than women do, and a 30-year-old woman and a 23-year-old man just feels wrong. Now, if that was a 23-year-old woman and a 30-year-old man, I would eat that shit up. But because it's reversed, I don't know, it feels weird to me. I did give this one 3.5 stars. I have really liked Beth O'Leary's stuff, similar to Mari McFarland. There's romance, but it's usually in such a good plot. And not that this is not, but as I said, the age gap thing really just rubbed me the wrong way. So I had to take off half a star for that. So it's 3.5 stars for me. And finally, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I did give this one 5 stars. This was so good. The mystery element, I filmed a whole full spoiler reading vlog of this, of me reading this. So I'm not really going to talk about it here. If you want to watch that video, please go watch it, because I feel like there's a lot I can't say, because this is not just a romance. There's also a mystery and like it's kind of like historically drama that unfolds. And I feel like I can't really say anything about it without giving spoilers. Because usually with a romance, I'm like, nothing's really a spoiler. Like, you know, they're going to end up together. I feel like I can't really say that for this. The romance was a nice, sweet addition. And I have nothing really negative to say. My review, let me read it to you. It says 10 out of 10, no notes. Well, some notes, but not enough to take down my rating. Emily Henry is such a talented author. Her writing is so well done, and even though this was different for her, I was very invested in the storyline of Margaret and her history. Hayden and Alice were a nice addition, but felt like just that, an addition, and not the main plot of the story, which I don't mind, but was different. So, there you go. It's dual timeline. It's really well done. Again, watch my video where I talk all about it. And those are all of the things that I read this month. I've got about 20 seconds before this clip will end, because I can only film for 30 minutes fans at a time on this camera. So thank you for watching. I'll see you somewhere else on the internet. Follow me on everything down below, and I love you. Bye guys.